Hi, Cochrane High. Thanks for joining me for this live yoga class today that Mr. Jensen has set up with myself at Alchemy Yoga. So you guys can see behind me that I'm in the bamboo studio, and this is where we've been doing all of our filming for our online classes now since the whole COVID-19 thing. Obviously, we don't have live classes here in our studio anymore, and I'm unable to come to you guys for live classes as well. So this is what yoga and a lot of other things are looking like right now as we're checking in this way. So if you're online live with me right now, hello and welcome. We can see a few people have tuned in. I'm not sure if it's just staff. I might just be teaching to the teachers today, and then maybe you guys will watch this later. But I just wanted to do a little bit of talking, and then we'll head over to the yoga mat. And what you guys will need for this class today is a mat, and if you don't have a mat at home, which I'm assuming lots of you probably don't, just a nice flat surface. So carpeted area or hardwood floor even is really good. If you have a blanket or a couch cushion or even just a hoodie that's kind of balled up, we're going to be using that at the end of class. And that's about it. I would suggest going someplace in your house that's quiet, someplace that doesn't have a lot of distractions, and that it's just you. Part of yoga is having this singular experience where we kind of try to push out the things that are busy and noisy around us so that we can have this nice internal, quieter experience. All right, so try to find a place in your house that, sometimes pets will probably come in, or maybe siblings or parents or whatever. But do try to find a quiet spot. So I wanted to begin this morning, or this afternoon, I guess, by talking about a few things that have been coming up for me since this whole pandemic, and we've all, moved away from life as we know it. So I wanted to just touch on a few things that, just share a few things, and then how I'm going to relate that to the yoga poses and the postures that we'll do today. So first of all, I want to talk about something that's in yoga that's called pratyahara. And that's just a really big fancy word that means withdrawing from the senses. Okay, so it's actually one of the limbs of yoga. And I think we get an opportunity to practice this limb of yoga even more so now that we're in this isolated state where we can't go out. So typically, if you were being taught a yoga class in a studio, or if you were being taught a yoga class in a gym, for the most part, unless, you had to leave the room for whatever reason, you would probably stay in the class. Okay, the teacher would keep you there, and you would just feel this accountability to staying with the practice or staying with what's being asked of you because we're in community. But because we've lost that now we're now relying on ourselves for that accountability piece, and that's really, really hard. So if you hear something in your house, someone walk up on the floor upstairs if you're in the basement, or someone downstairs is doing something, our attention is going to be drawn away more easily because the accountability is lying just unto ourselves. And that's really tough to find that discipline. So I want to just give you some encouragement. If you hear sounds in your house, if you smell something cooking from someone else in another room, or just something going on outside external of you, I want you to see if you can just be aware of it, but then come back to you. Okay, I notice there's a sound in the other room. I come back to myself. I smell something cooking in the kitchen, but I come back to this internal landscape or this internal lens. All right, so that's pratyahara, and it's going to be really tricky for us to stay for the entire time on the mat. We can see on YouTube when people drop off, we can kind of see how long people are viewing our classes for. So on average in an hour-long class, most people's attention span is about 36 minutes. So I'm going to teach to you guys today for about that length of time, about 35 to 40 minutes. And the reason why is because that's really all we're able to do, okay? We're human. Second thing I want to talk about is the practice itself. So I've noticed in my own body over this last month and a bit of time that I've been on my computer a lot, I've been on my phone and my devices a lot, so therefore we have that rounding of the spine. Now we had that prior to all of this, but I think we are feeling it and finding it even more so in our spines, okay? This rounding, this forward rounding of the spine and forward carriage of the head. So we're going to work today to open up the head, neck, and shoulder area so that we can kind of get some life and some movement back in that part of the body, okay? So head over to whatever you're going to be using as your practice spot, okay? And I'll meet you there, 2 seconds. Okay, so we're going to begin the class by lying flat on the back. So when you're ready, just meet me there. And then just organize your back body in a way that feels comfortable, as we'll be taking about 3 or 4 different poses from this back body position. So face up, heart up, and just for a few moments, take your arms out to the side. When we open up our hands, it helps to externally open up our shoulders. So palms up. And we'll just take a few breaths here. So the only thing that can give us any sense of peace and calm at this time is actually the breath. It's the one thing that we can trust and rely on will be there in the present moment and in the moments to come. So just a few centering breaths in and out through the nose or the mouth, whichever you prefer. Good. Now you might want to take your hands down now. Flip the palms down just for a bit of stability. And then we're simply going to roll the head from right to left. If you have the flexibility in your neck to touch your chin to your shoulder, you might want to do that. Coming back up through center before rolling the other way. So just do that a few times. You can follow breaths in and out. You can go at your own pace, your own speed. Do one more each side, ending on the left side. Good. Let's meet back up at center. We're going to add on one element here. Go ahead again and touch your chin to your right shoulder. Come back up through center and then pick your head up and away from the floor, using a bit of the abdominal strength to do that. And then let your head go back down. Turn your chin towards the left. Come back to center. So let's keep with that. Lift the head up at the middle here and then lower back down. Look to the right, center, lift, and lower. Chin to your shoulder, center, lift, stretch the neck, and lower down. Let's do one more each side. So we want to stretch the neck as well as strengthen the neck a little bit. Our head is heavy, and we work to keep it held up all day long, and those muscles can get really tired and weak at the same time. Okay, let's meet back up at center. Take your hands over top of your head. Point your toes hard towards the floor, and then reach your palms, your hands up towards the top edge of the mat. Stretch through the waist. This is part of us that can get congested and condensed from lots of sitting, laying down, sleeping, which all of us are doing more of. Which was kind of nice in the beginning, I have to admit, but going into, what is this, week 6, starting to feel a bit much. So stretch through the side body. Good. Take your hands together, weave your hands together, and then pick up your head and put your head into your hands. Now, usually when we want to lift our head up and away from the floor, we want to use the muscles in the neck to do that. But I want you to use the strength of your arms to lift your head, to stretch your neck. Use your arms like you're trying to squeeze your temples. And without using any of your neck strength, arm strength only lifts the head, chin to chest, and then lower back down. We're going to keep with this motion. Arms lift the head, chin to chest, lower back down. Do about 5, 6 more, just to your own rhythm. Woo, if you don't feel that, I know I do. Okay, let's do 2 more. And last one. Good. Release your head down. And then I'll meet you guys on all fours. Okay, tabletop position. So once you're in this tabletop position, let's take our right arm forward like you're trying to shake someone's hand across the room. Tuck your back right toes for some stability and then shoot your left leg back. Point your toes down towards the floor. Now look straight down with your eyes so that the back of your neck is free of any wrinkles. And rather than slouching down through your left shoulder, I want you to rise up like a pillar out of that left arm. On your next inhale breath, stretch everything, the spine, the neck a little longer. And then as you breathe out all the air, you're going to come in towards the center. You might be able to tap your elbow to your knee or maybe even your forehead to your knee. And then the inhale breath stretches you long again. Keep going like this. This is called bird dog pose. So we're just finding length and then we're contracting in using the abdominal muscles here. Do 2 more. Last one. Okay, so let's stretch it long and then keep it there. Reach right arm forward, left foot down still. And now take your right arm out like you have an airplane wing. Keep that. Keep strong through your left shoulder and then start to take your left leg laterally to the side. Stay for 3, for 2, and 1. Come back to that long position, stretch it out. And then everything comes down to center. Right hand down, left knee down. Walk out your hands, walk out your hips and knees a little bit before we do the second side. Okay, left arm reaches forward. Tuck your left toes, right leg shoots back. Now right away, rise up through this shoulder. Rather than being down low like this where the heart's hammocking, push up, push the floor away. Look straight down with your eyes, back of the neck is long, stretch. And then come in towards center, little tap. And then reach long. Just a few more like this. Good, let's do 1 more time to stretch long. Good, and then left hand is going to reach out like a wing to the left. Push the floor away and then start to take your right leg out laterally. Stay for 3. If you're shaking like me, that's good for 2. And 1. 1 more time to stretch long, spine elongates. Good, and then limbs come down. Walk that out. Okay, we're going to try to release some tension from the scapula or the shoulder blades on the back body. So we're going to do what's called a scapular push-up or a shoulder blade push-up. And the thing here is you're going to want to keep your arm bones straight. So you're not going to be hinging at the elbows at all. You're going to be keeping your arms straight. And then you're going to let your heart sink down towards the floor. And then you're going to push yourself back up. Okay, so the arms stay straight and you're just hammocking through the heart and then finding slight rounding through the upper back. Let's do about 5 or 6 of those. Scapula push-ups. Just letting the shoulder blades move on the back body. They get really sticky from sitting. They get really sticky and all the muscles around the shoulder blades get tight from doing computer work. Also known as Netflix. All right. Okay, from here we'll go into a downward facing dog. So tuck your toes under, press into your hands, hover your knees, belly towards the thigh bones, and then start to pump the heels towards the ground. As much as you're able to do, let your head be heavy. That's a key component of decompressing the head, neck, and shoulders, is letting the head be really free in downward facing dog so that the weight of the head can traction the spine and help dissolve and melt away some of that bunchy tension in the upper body. So your eyes are looking to the space between your feet or the back edge of your mat. You have to push into your hands to keep your shoulders strong and your head really heavy. Couple more pumps of the legs here, stretching out the calves, the hamstrings. Good. Now lift your head, look to the space between your hands, and then take your time to walk your feet to the top edge of wherever you're practicing. Yoga mat, carpet, kitchen floor. Okay, let's find some length in the spine. Glide your hands up your shins, stop underneath your knees. So take your shoulder blades that you were just working, melt them down your back, and as you do that, feel the heart lift and project forward. Gaze is straight down, neck is long. This is the halfway lift pose. Next time you exhale, forward fold. And next time you inhale, come all the way up, reach your arms open, and then take your hands to the center of your chest. So we're going to warm up with a few sun salutations just to get some vigor going in the body, get some of that stagnation that we maybe feel in the joints and in the muscles from just being a little bit more sedentary this last little while. Okay, on your inhale breath, stretch the chest open, reach up, look up if it's okay with your neck. And then on the exhale breath, broaden through the chest, wide arms, go back to that heavy head, look back and down. Inhale, lift and lengthen your heart, halfway lift pose, we were just here. And forward fold again, tuck your chin. Inhale, rise up. You can touch your hands at the top if you like. And then guide your hands right down to the center of the chest, slight pause here. Inhale, reach up, look up. Soft knees, forward fold, bow in towards your legs, drop your head, soften the back of the neck. Inhale to halfway lift. And listen here, we're going to change it up. Plant your hands in front of you. Step your favorite foot back, followed by the other to the top of the plank pose. Take a full breath in, and then please lower down to your knees to take a full breath out to hover your heart. So it's like you're doing a half push-up here. The heart's not going to touch the floor. You're just going to hover it away. On the inhale breath, press straight up to straight arms. And as you breathe out all of the air, sink your hips back towards your heels, stretch the underside of the arms, head might touch the mat or the floor. Inhale, come through to all fours. Tuck your toes to a downward facing dog. Stay for a breath here. And stay for the breath out. Now lift your eyes to the space between your hands. Step, or if you want a little bit of fun, you can hop to the top edge of your mat. Halfway lift to lengthen your spine and stretch your heart. Forward fold, bow, tuck your chin. Inhale, come all the way up, look up. Exhale, straighten out the neck, hands to the heart. Okay, we'll do one more like that. Inhale, reach up. Broaden through the chest, stretch through the pectoral muscles, the fronts of the shoulders. Lift and lengthen halfway. Hands down, opposite foot leads the way to the top of plank pose. Pause for an inhale. And then use the exhale to hover halfway down. Squeeze the arm bones into the ribs. Press the mat away, the floor away. Sink the hips back, all the air out here. And then inhale, downward facing dog, lift the tail. Okay, on your next inhale breath, kick the right leg up towards the sky. Now bend at your knee and turn open your hip. So hips, the biggest joint in the body, can get bunchy and tired from sitting and just basically not being in our routine. The body can start to store up stress that way by being off routine. So open up your hip, even move your knee around in a big circle so you can find some mobility in your hip. Okay, now close your hip and step your right foot forward between your hands. If you have to help your foot to get there, go for it. Plant your foot and then drop your back knee. And then we'll meet with hands up and over top of the head, reach all the way up. And then sink into the lunge just a little bit. So the front of the left hip, open up the hip flexor there. If you want more of a stretch, creep your right toes more forward. Stay strong in your feet and your legs, and then sink into the lunge just a little more. Okay, we're going to take eagle arms here. So right arm is going to cross underneath the left arm. And then take your fingertips of your right hand to your left palm. Okay, I'll do that one more time. Right arm under left, right fingertips touch left palm. Now, once you have this bind of your arms, start to lift your arm bones up. But rather than going back into a back bend, I want you to keep your neck nice and straight. Tuck your chin in. Look to the bones of your arms. Keep sinking in the lunge. And keep broadening through the back of your shoulder blades. Lift your fingertips a little higher for one more breath in. Good, and then all the air out. Reach your hands up and over top of your head. And then bring your hands down, tuck your back toes. We'll go back to a downward facing dog. If downward facing dog doesn't feel comfortable for you, you guys can move into a child's pose. But I encourage you to stay with the effort, especially in these times when we're off routine and we're prone to being sedentary. It's good to push ourselves just a little bit right now. Inhale, lift up your left leg. And again, turn open your hip by bending your knee. Try to keep your chest square to the floor, to the front two corners of your mat, and just the belly spins and just the hip opens. Then you can start to draw a big circle with that left knee. Good, and then you'll have to close your hips so that you can look forward and step to the top edge of the mat with your left foot, and then drop your back right knee. Use the inhale breath to carry the arms up and over top of your head. And first settle into your legs. They're the stabilizers of the whole pose here. So strong, firm feet. And it's like you're trying to scissor your legs in towards each other. Thigh bones kind of hug the midline. Good. Now left arm is going to sweep underneath the right arm this time. Fingertips to palms. And then the action we're looking for here is to lift the elbows up. Like you're trying to broaden through the back body and a little bit of hollowing through the front body. Cast your gaze to the bones of your arms and keep encouraging your fingertips to go up. Keep pressing your feet down. Good. 2 more breaths here. On your inhale, reach your arms all the way up just to release the bind of the arms. And then hands down, foot back. Now let's take one vinyasa. That means we're going to flow through a series of movements between the next pose that's coming up on the right side of the body. So on the inhale breath, glide to the top of plank pose. On the exhale breath, do 2 things. Drop your knees and hover your heart. Inhale, press the floor away. Exhale, sit back, hips to heels, as far back as is comfortable for you. And then press into your hands, tuck your toes, hips to sky, downward facing dog. All right, I hope you guys are still with me. Stay with it. Stay with the effort. That's called tapas in yoga, where we want to keep the effort and the discipline. All right, lift your right leg towards the sky. Step it to the top edge of your mat. Again, you're going to drop that back knee. You can keep your back toes tucked for stability if you like. And then reach your arms up and over top of your head. But different arms this time. This time I want you to goalpost your arms, like you're making these cowboy surrender arms. Like the back wall is a big magnet and your arms are made of metal. You're trying to draw your arm bones back, but keep your chin tucking down towards the chest. Couple breaths here. Expand through the chest. So this part of us gets really, really tight when we have that forward flexion of the spine. So we want to expand through the arms here, expand through the heart. Good work. Okay, take your hands behind your back and create a bind. You'll put your favorite thumb on top. Next time we'll do the less comfortable grip. Pull your arms down. This will look different for everybody depending on what's going on in your shoulders. And for most of us, myself included, our shoulders are just really, really tight right now. So pull away that tension with the bind of your hands. Good. Keep tucking your chin in towards your chest. And just take a couple long, slow, deep breaths here. Good. Release your arms up. Hands down, step back. Remember, you can go into child's pose here or downward facing dog, about 3 to 5 breaths. So there's a point in anything, but in specifically a yoga practice where if we put enough time in, then it feels good to stay. Like if you've ever gone for a run before, you know how the first few kilometers are the hardest? Actually getting out of the house in the first place is the hardest, but once you're there, you're so glad that you did it. So that's about where we are in this practice right now. If you're still with me, maybe I'm just teaching to myself, I'm not sure. But if you're still with me, I encourage you to stay with it. So burn through a little bit of sedentary feeling and just keep going. Okay, take the left leg up towards the sky. Look forward, step forward. Drop your back knee. And then reach your arms up towards the sky. Right away, goalpost the arms, broaden, expand, and awaken through the front body. That part of us that gets a little bit shadowy and contracted. Melt the shoulder blades down the back. Actively do that. Keep your hands wide awake. And then take your hands behind your back, opposite clasp of your thumbs. It'll feel a bit funky back there. And then pull your arm bones down as much as you're able to do. Expand through the chest, but tuck your chin, lengthen the back of your neck. Stay with the effort. Inhale, reach your arms up, free the bind. And then hands down, and then everybody come into a child's pose, okay? Knees wide, toes together, head and heart, send them towards the floor. Just a couple breaths here, just to check in before we move on. Okay, on your next inhale breath, we're going to come back up into a downward facing dog. And we're going to pick up our right leg, step it through to our hands, and then send your left heel down just on a bit of an angle so that the toes are pointing on a 45. Rise up with the arms. This is warrior one pose. Settle into the hips. Okay, so we're going to take the arms behind the back again. We've already done this, but we had our knee dropped. This pose is called humble warrior. And we're going to do a few things in this pose. It's going to decompress tension in the head, neck, and spine, as well as expand through the chest. All of those things that we're looking for. So pull your arm bones down. Take a full breath in. And as you exhale, start to send your right shoulder towards your right knee. Okay? If it touches your right knee, I want you to use it to open up your hip. Lift your arms, drop your head. So the trickiest part of this pose is the balance aspect, is balancing with your feet in this staggered position and then dropping your head. So if you can, look back behind you at your big toe of your left foot. Keep lifting your arms, expanding the front body. Good. Now come up just halfway. And then start to spin towards the left. So you're trying to bring your right shoulder on the inside of your right leg and then spin the chest open. Maybe even take the gaze up towards the sky for 3, for 2, and for 1. Square the shoulders back forward. Plant your hands. And then come onto your back tippy toes, your back left toes. So this is like a lunge pose. Keep your left hand in this tented position and then spin the chest open to the right for a lunging twist. Just one more easy breath here. And then take your left hand down. And then listen here. You're going to step back, or you're going to come to the outer edge of your left foot. And then your right foot is going to come halfway back. So I'm backwards to you guys. But reach your right arm up towards the sky. And then wrap your right arm around your ribs. So you're giving yourself this little hug. And then let's work the strength of the left shoulder here. Sink your hips down. And then lift your hips up. Let's see if we can do 2 or 3 more of these. Keep pressing into your feet. Don't lose the action of your feet. Let's do 1 more. Good. And then right hand comes back down. Square yourself to the front edge of the mat. Drop your knees. Rest your head and your heart. Take a little break. You can tent your fingers here if you want to release more from the mid-back. Moving your shoulders one at a time down towards the floor. Good. Let's come back up into a downward facing dog where we'll pick up the left leg this time. So meeting up again in warrior one, step right foot or left foot forward. Square your right foot to a 45. And then reach your arms up. So reach your arms up but sink the lower body down. Finding those dual actions of rising and rooting at the same time. Good. Hands come behind the back, opposite clasp of your hands. Pull your arm bones down to expand your chest. Take a big deep breath in, and then all the air out as you come forward towards your left knee. So initially, we're just going to drop the head, lift the arms. For some of you, your arms will lift a lot. For most of you, your arms will just lift a little. Both are normal. But everybody relax the head. Like the crown of the head is dripping towards the floor. Okay, let's go into that little revolve twist. So come up just to halfway and then start to spin towards the right this time. Like you're trying to expand through your right shoulder. Keep your bound hands reaching, pulling back for 3, for 2, and 1. Come back to center, let go of the bind. And then come up onto your back right toes so your heel is lifted. Make a little spike or a dome with your right hand, and then wave open your left. Look up if you can. Lunging twist. Good. Left hand down. Now you're going to spin to the outer edge of your right foot and manually help your left foot come halfway down. Okay? Now push the mat away. Reach up. Stretch open through the chest. And then give yourself this little hug so you're holding on to the side ribs. And then start to lower and lift. Press into both your feet, the knife edge of your right foot and your left big toe. Good. Let's do one more. And we'll send it back to downward facing dog or child's pose. If you guys need to stop for a little drink of water, go ahead. So hopefully you guys are still with me. We've got a little bit more to do. Most of the effort is over though. And we'll have a nice little shavasana at the end. Okay, we're going to take a step to the long edge of the mat so that our legs are wide, okay? Reach your arms up and over top of your head. And then cross your right arm underneath your left arm back into those eagle arms. Fingertips to palms. And just a few times here, move your arm bones up and down like pistons so that the shoulder blades start to release on the back body. Good. Now keep your fingertips high. We're going to hinge right at the hips, like someone's chopping you right in half at the hips. You're going to come down to tabletop height. Hold here. Strong legs, active core. And then on your next exhale breath, you're going to go the remainder of the way. Keep your arms in this twisted position, but relax your head. Okay, like you have an elephant's trunk, you're going to start to sweep it from the left side to the right side, bending into right knee and left knee as you go. Keep your head fairly heavy. If you need to lift it a bit just to see where you're going, go ahead, but try to keep your head heavy. Keep your hands firm. Good. And then release your hands. Come onto tented fingers. Halfway lift and lengthen your spine. As you breathe out all the air, forward fold. And then weave your fingers together behind your head. This will feel a little bit like what we did at the beginning of class on the back when we were lifting our head away from the floor. Use your hands to traction and lengthen the back of the neck, decompressing any tension in the neck and spine. You can even press your hands into the back of the skull. Good. 2 more breaths here. Good. And then release your hands down. Come up halfway. Just take a nice breath in. And all the air out. Okay, jump your feet together and we'll meet up in a seated position. Okay, from here we'll do a couple more things on the floor just to get the shoulders going again and released. So sit cross-legged, your favorite shin in front. Take your arms up and over top of your head. Weave your fingers together right down to the webbing and then press your inner hands up towards the sky. This is one of the greatest ways that we can open the underarms or the underside of the arms. Keep pressing through your pointer fingers into the tops of your hands and charging your arm bones. Good, and release down. Plant your right hand beside you and then arc your left arm over top of your head. Sit heavy into your left sit bone. Push the floor away with your right hand to get heavy on the left side. Spin the gaze, look up. Sweep through the center, same pose, other side. Press into your left hand. Get heavy into your right sit bone. Arc up and over and then look up. Good, and then come back to center. So come with your feet facing the short edge of your mat again. Plant your feet, knees are bent, and then plant your hands a few inches behind you. So we're going to do a pose called reverse table. We're going to lift the tail up in a way, the hips up, so that we can really broaden through the chest. You'll have one of two options with your head. You can either keep it neutral or you can let it fall back behind you. Okay, when you're ready, push into your feet, push into your hands, lift your hips. Okay, so chin to chest. If you want a little bit, it's actually harder to leave the chin towards the chest. If you're okay and it doesn't make you feel dizzy or nauseous, you can drop the head back, but keep pressing into the hands and feet, expanding through the chest. For 3, for 2, and 1. Good. Come on down. Give your arms a little shake. And then we'll do one more. So you have the option here of staggering one leg straight, one knee bent, and then switching halfway through. Okay, or you can come along with me and see if you can make both of your legs go straight. Okay, and if none of that makes sense, just repeat what we just did. So we'll begin with feet flat, hands back behind us. Now push the floor away. One foot steps forward to straight leg, and then the second foot steps forward. Now push up, lift up. Stretch through the front body. Drop the head if you like. We'll stay for 3. Keep lifting the chest for 2. Strong feet and hands. Press the floor away for 1. Good, and then lower down, shake out your arms. Good. Come back to sitting cross-legged. Take your hands behind your back. Make that bind that we did before. And then bring your hands, your fisted hands, over to the right side. Okay? Now let your left shoulder get really, really heavy. Draw your right ear to your right shoulder. Stay with it. We're almost done. We're almost there. Good. Take your hands over to the left side. Let your right shoulder get really heavy this time. And then that chicken wing of a left arm, see if you can bring it in towards the midline. Left ear, left shoulder. Good, and then relax. Simply take your chin to your chest. And then let your right ear rock over to your right shoulder. Switching sides by bringing chin to chest. Left ear, left shoulder. Do that a couple more times, your own rhythm. Good, and now if it's okay with your neck, if it's not too much for your cervical spine, lift the chin up towards the ceiling. Stretch through the neck. This is even a part of us that gets a bit condensed, choked out. Good. Last pose here. Take both feet flat. And then cross your right ankle over top of your left knee. Okay, like you're doing a seated figure 4. Now for less effort, if this is quite a bit of effort on your right hip, I want you to slide your left foot away from you. But if you're looking for a little bit more intensity, you can take your right heel more towards you and then sit up really straight here. Stretching through your right hip. So remember, the biggest joints in the body, they get the most tense first. So shoulders and hips are notorious for carrying all of that tension. Okay, before we release this side, just cradle your shin bone in the crook of your elbow and just kind of rock the baby here. Just move your hip from side to side. Give it a little bit of love, and then we'll switch sides. left knee or left foot to right knee. Might feel a little different than the side you just came from. So find a good position for you that feels like you're doing some effort. It feels like there's a little bit of release here. Not too easy, but not too hard. Sometimes called the Goldilocks rule, where it's not too hot and it's not too cold, but it's just right in the middle. Good. Keep lifting the heart. Keep pressing the floor away with your hands. That'll help to release your hip. Good. And if you guys are still with me, well done. Good job. Cradle your shin bone side to side. Good. Take your knees together to the right. Lift up your left hand and walk it back around to where the right hand is waiting. And then start to spin your chest towards the back of the room for you, wherever you are. Come back to center, and we're simply going to do the last and second side, knees together to the left. Pick up your right hand, spin your belly. We're twisting the spine, decompressing the hips here. Good, and then release. Come all the way back to the center. And then we're going to head onto the mat. So if you have a blanket at home, a couch cushion, like I said earlier, just even an article of clothing that you have laying around, you're just going to make it into a little bit of a roll so that you can put it back behind your shoulders, okay? And then if you have another pillow at home, if we were in the studio, we would give you a block and you would just put that on your head, but something behind the roll you can lay your head on. And then I want you guys to expand your arms here. Okay, remember we talked at the beginning of the class how when the hands are open, it externally rotates the arm bones. So we want to find that action here, feet wide to the outer edges of the mat. And your hands open for receptivity. So let's take a full breath in through the nose all the way up to the top of the lungs. Slight pause when you get to the top. And then all the air out, like everything is going to be okay. Let's do that again. Take a full breath in through the nose where you pause at the very top. Feel the lungs. And then big community sigh out through the mouth. So you guys are welcome to stay in this shape for as long as you have the discipline and the time to do so. I'm just going to come up and out so that I can say goodbye to you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in, especially if you stayed right to the end. Good job. I hope you guys are staying well. And I'm not sure if we're going to keep doing these videos. I think we have one more coming next week. Give me your feedback, you guys, things you want to do or things you want to chat about in here. I'm so happy to be of service and to help you guys at this time. Namaste.